Hi, y'all. Good afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you are, and whatever time you're joining in today. Thank you for being here with me today on this glorious life and this glorious earth. Today, I will be talking about how to hack your cosmological DNA with epigenetics. So this came about after I actually learned what epigenetics was about, and I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of familiar to how I've been using astrology in my personal life. So I just wanted to come on here and share a little bit of, my a little bit of my personal journey, but more so, what is actually involved in the information of the cosmos and the structure of that and how it has a relationship with your genes, with your DNA. So, are you ready? Are you ready to unlock your full potential and dive deep into these secrets? Because it's definitely going to give you some notes on your, journey of self-discovery and personal growth and spiritual growth as well if you're involving your birth chart. So, what this video I'm hoping will help people with, or even just, sharing information. And first and foremost, that's what I love to do. For the people that are aligned with it, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, but know that I intend to spew truth and truth nonetheless. um, but what I'm hoping you can get out of this video is to discover how your astrology signs, plural, your whole natal chart, can shed light on your epigenetic code and reveal hidden insights into health and wellness, your behaviors, your morals, how you look towards the future. And then also, share some insights into actionable steps that you can take to optimize that based off of your natal chart. And I think in the end, always give people the encouragement that you have this self authority in life and the ability to take control of your life no matter what. So, what is epigenetics? I kind of threw a big word out there, but if you're familiar with it, then that is awesome. But I'm just going to break it down a little bit. So, epigenetics, the second part of it, um, the suffix, which is genetic, should sound very familiar since it is describing the genes in our DNA, what is passed down through our mothers and fathers, grandparents, even so far as 7 generations back. We can find keys and insights into our genetic code. And epi, the prefix, is Latin for above. So what epigenetics means is above the genome. And if you look at the DNA structure, there are, additions to that. And those like little slight, I want to. I want to say like pricks and additions to it. You'll have to look up a video. Maybe I can find a way to insert a video here. I don't really like to do all that extra stuff. Sometimes it feels a little extra to me because I don't know how to do that. So I would recommend looking up an actual picture of the structure of an epigenetic code. And what it does is it describes the changes in our gene expression within our DNA strands that occur without, you know, extreme alterations in the DNA sequence. So there's no like resequencing of the DNA strands. There's really just activations. I'm going to be using that word a lot. So there's really just activations that epigenetics has with your DNA strands. So again, it's above the genome. It's sitting just right above and connected to the DNA sequence. And what you can think of it as is layers of instructions that determine how your genes are read and expressed. And it's impacting everything from your physical traits to susceptibility to certain diseases. So that's where you get into cases of, certain diseases being passed down through families, whether it be diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, different addictive disorders and things like that, mental disorders as well, proneness to anxiety, depression. Don't get scared with these big words. I would not get too worried with these big words because, again, I'm going to share how you're going to have like a sense of self authority. At the end of this video, you're going to be like, oh shit, let's switch it up now. And maybe you've already felt like you need to make a change in this life. So, you watching this video is key in just adding another like biological reason as to why taking self authority of your life is going to change the game, not just for you, but for your future generations, if you so choose. So, yes, the layers of instructions. Again, it's exciting news. It's exciting news because these epigenetic changes, they're not fixed. And I think some context that I can add is that epigenetics, when it was first discovered, I forget when it, not like discovered, because again, sometimes I think science is just now catching up with what our ancestors have known for millions of years. But from a scientific like lab perspective, I think of like when I think of scientific, I think of, old white men, that sort of thing. So they're very new to the game, a lot of them. I am too, but again, I think about it in the longer esoteric terms of like, wow, our ancestors really knew this, and this is kind of a call for us to get back to the practices that they involved within their life and their habits to ensure that this information was passed on with gratitude and knowing that you would be setting the world up for success. So don't fret about big words like rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, certain things running in my family, da 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 da. These changes are not fixed. It's up to environment and behaviors that can influence which genes are turned on or off and affecting how your body reads and reacts to DNA. It can be influenced by factors like diet, stress, exposure to toxins, and of course, these are the things that would be passed down to future generations. So it's about like the changes that you can make now, like right now. Right now. Don't fear, you're in control. You have the ability to rise above it. Again, above the genome. You have the ability to rise above the genome, above what society is telling you, above what people are telling you to be, even yourself as well. Let go of these limiting beliefs that you've had of, oh no, I can't do this because this is in my family. Oh no, I can't do that because this is my current circumstances. Think of yourself as powerful within your circumstances no matter what, to rise above that and know that you're not alone. You're going to, once you make that mental shift, then you're going to start attracting people into your life that uh, um, that are aligned within that and willing to kind of either keep you on that track, stay with your pace, and get you to that next level. I'm always about growth mindset and leveling up, and sometimes growth mindset requires us to look at how we have where in life we criticize ourselves. Like shame is a really big thing, or used to be. But I do think that there is a way to there's a reason for respecting why shame is even a thing in societies. Like, it's not really a new thing, so to speak. It was kind of used to keep, um, it sounds so weird when I say this, but society in line and away from doing things that would harm the future generations. So, again, not shame as a bad thing, not criticism as a bad thing, but as a way to construct, um, healthily construct, I'll use that word, healthily construct for the future generations. And you are your future generations. So when I say future generations, it always involves the decisions that you're making now that are going to affect that. So a little bit more about epigenetics is like, um, it can be from anything. It's not just these like specific, awful diseases that I'm mentioning. It's also, genes and genetics of wealth. It can be entrepreneurship, can be passed down through generations and generations. I didn't totally understand it, but when my sister first mentioned, um, how the people that she is, the land that she was born in Guatemala, and she mentioned that the families that she was from, her lineage, I don't know where this girl learned this, she's very smart, um, and it's really now hitting. She's like, yeah, it's in our DNA. It's known within those generations to, build business essentially, and to be defined entrepreneurs for the sake of our land and for our future generations. And that has been passed down through their lineage. And she's very entrepreneurial mindset, very hard worker. Ever since she was a young girl, she would be like out there selling, um, chips and different snacks to kids at the middle school that we used to live across from all those years ago. So I love seeing this full circle and just adding more context to what she said. But that's an example of like, yeah, the wealth, genes of wealth. So trust fund babies as well, that is in their genome, um, that is in their genetic strands, their epigenetic strands, and they have that activation. And back to the word activation, what I mean by that is that, again, I was talking about scientists and then I kind of rambled off, but tying back to that, when scientists discovered this in the modern world, they used to describe epigenetics as junk DNA. And junk meaning like kind of useless or just like asleep or dormant. It could also be described as dormant DNA. And that is I think, a better way of describing it in the context that I'm using it for this video, because dormancy doesn't mean that it is not still alive in some way. It's just asleep. Um, and when I mention the word activation, it can be activated by certain chemicals on a cellular level that will activate it. So changes in habit, routine, diet, mindset shifts. Like it stems from the mind. You're not just going to like act first and then your mind will follow, sort of thing. There's always some sort of like shift within your mind that's going to get you out of bed earlier. That's going to have you staying in bed later if you need more sleep. That's going to have you, um, going out there and making plans for your business, or entrepreneurship and creating your own business, getting inventory for your own business, going out there and networking and finding people that can support your business. Those are the kinds of things that you're training your body to do. You're activating that junk DNA, that dormant DNA, to like resequence your DNA in a sense. Not completely change the sequencing, but you're reprogramming the sequencing. And yes, so that is the point that I trailed off from, is that it used to be described as junk DNA, but really it's dormant DNA that hasn't been activated yet. And so again, trust fund babies, it's within their genes. It's within their genes. They inherited that. And it's up to them if they want to keep that genome on. It's up to them. They could blow through their trust fund and then, activate some sort of like, correlation within their mind and their DNA that, when you have money, you should blow it and you should spend it. Or, if they were a bit more, health money minded, they would be, researching about the energetics of money. They would be researching about the system of money and how it's evolved and what it looks like in the modern sense and how to work with it nowadays, and where to invest it for the long term, and things like that. So that's something that would keep that trust fund, wealth, entrepreneur, um, DNA sequencing activated and being able to pass it on to the next generation. There's a huge theme of legacy when we're talking about um, this, and especially in an astrological sense. I mean, I don't know my biological parents' astrology charts, but I know some people that have done that in the past, with their mother's chart, with their father's chart, grandfathers, grandmothers, and they can see the correlations of what they inherited from them compared to their own chart. And again, it's really about that 7 generations back, 7 generations forward is also a big theme as well when we're talking about legacy. Um, so, like, what does this have to do with astrology? I just kind of mentioned it, but since astrology, in essence, it's the study of celestial bodies and their influence on human affairs, and it's also scientifically proven that we are, particles of space dust. Each individual has this unique astrological blueprint. We're very, very tied to the planets, and you get that through astrology. And astrology as a system, a divine system of sequencing, that has been around for ooh, thousands and thousands and thousands of years, like thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Think ancient Kemet, before Kemet became Egypt, before Egypt was Egypt. That's how old astrology is. Um, so with that information, the cosmic map of our natal chart is going to show the planetary positions at the time of birth. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's the snapshot of the stars at the exact moment that you were born. And each of these, placements within your chart are going to reveal different tendencies and potential challenges that could be inherited from your grandmother or your mother or your grandfather or your father on your mother's side or your father's side. And what this would do further is it's offering insights into personality traits and life paths. I think, yeah. So, with that being said, the astrological blueprint in your epigenetics, that intersection is showing you that there are going to be behavioral tendencies regardless, biological tendencies regardless, pros and cons, if you will. And they're not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's what is. But being that it is what it is, and you're in the present, that is a gift. You have the choice. You have the self autonomy to rise above your cosmological DNA sequencing and choose the parts of your chart that are your higher self, and like, what do I mean by higher self? The things that are going to get you out of negative thought patterns, low vibrational energies of, complaining all the time, or, again, negative thoughts, seeing this world for not being the divine thing that it is, ordained, for millions of years, hosting species that have been here for millions of years. It is definitely something, this information should definitely be activating a sense of gratitude within yourself. Like, oh my God, thank goodness I'm on this earth, on this life, with the lovely people that I have met, with the people that have, taught me so much in this life. from the good experiences to the quote unquote, bad experiences, traumatic experiences. I'm still here, and every day I'm given the choice from the cosmos, the universe, from God to continue to choose the like God and goddess route, you know what I mean? Just to be at that level of um, downloading information that you know is going to help you based off of what you need. Like, I'm just giving you the information, but only you can really look super deep into your chart, unless you want me to. And you can go ahead and book a session with me on my Calendly. And um, what I would be helping you do is, I would look at your astrological blueprint, and I would see, I would see through the good, bad, right, or wrong, and see what simply just is. And then, and we'll talk a little bit more about, where you're at in life, what you want to be doing. Don't be afraid to think big. This You are the universe. You are the space dust from the universe, and it's ever expanding. Therefore, you should be too. It should come naturally. It should come with ease. And if you don't feel like it is, just tell yourself that you can let it be easy. Let it be easy. Let the transformation be easy. Okay? Don't let things weigh on your heart. Allow them to just flow and get you to that next point. Um, that kind of, from the river to the ocean, from the river to the lake to the ocean. And that's the intersection, I think, for sure. Like, that's that's the intersection. I think maybe this title was like a kind of, you could think of it maybe as clickbait, but I was like, there's something to it here. There's something really divinely connected between somebody's personal astrology chart and epigenetics, and not just thinking of like the aspects of your chart of like, oh, a Taurus is lazy, and oh, a Pisces is like super emotional, or like, oh, a Capricorn's like super money minded and da, 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 and like very, dry and Saturnian. I don't know. It's so much deeper than that. It's so much deeper than that. It truly goes down to like the minute details of your chart. When we get into the houses, when we get into the aspects and the degrees as well. And not from a perspective of like, oh, what is my horoscope saying that I am today? What are you saying that you are today? What are you saying that you are today? Those magazines are just making a buck in buck 100 for every click that they get on their websites talking about horoscopes, and some, and I will happily provide resources of people that I think are doing a very good job in kind of keeping the politics out of it, I guess. And the like Jerry Springer version of astrology, of pop astrology. And by Jerry Springer, I mean what's the clickbait? What's going to arouse a lot of um, like dopamine rushes for people, or allow a lot of like even cortisol rushes for people as well. Very high energy, non-grounded things. Um, and that's not really what I wanted to talk about astrology through the lens of. I never wanted to come on here and be like, oh, Pisces, you're super emotional, da da da, that's just because she's a Pisces moon or whatever. I'm like, it's so much deeper than that. It's so much deeper than that. It could, be, what has been the experiences that she's gone through. It wouldn't, it's too easy, I guess. I know I'm talking about letting it be easy, but don't let it be easy to the point that you're degrading yourself. Don't let the degradation come easy. Let the elevation come easy. Let that be easy for you. Don't let the degradation and the negative thought patterns and the complaining and the poverty consciousness come to you. Let the higher self come in. Think big like the cosmos. You know, Start that business that you had that idea so many years ago of doing. Do that. Do that. Find your gift. What's your gift? What's your magic? That's also something that astrology can help you do. It's such a magical divination system. It is truly divine. If you're not getting divine answers out of it, then you may be using it wrong. You want to think about the um, the happiness that can be gained out of these tendencies that are, you know, quote unquote negative. And when I think negative, I think mistake. When I think mistake, I think something to be learned from, something to be, risen above, something to learn from and then apply so that you get a positive outcome. So, yeah, positive consequences. Play life like a game with positive consequences, higher self consequences, successful consequences. And with that understanding, the intersection of this, astrological blueprint and your epigenetics, um, you can activate those cosmological genomes that lie above what is initially seen or experienced as potential, vulnerabilities or different concerns. And it allows for proactive steps to kind of shift where their impact would be and promote just like optimal health and well-being. And it take it on a case by case basis, but definitely it takes discipline, and I'm learning this now. I'm not saying this as somebody who's like won this, and in many ways I have accomplished this in many ways, but when I know better I do better. So I'm still applying this constantly every single day when it comes to my habits, my mindset, my discipline, um, my positive thoughts, mitigating the negative thoughts, and um, keeping myself entangled in habits that are going to get me to that higher level. I have very big dreams. I have very big dreams. Be comfortable with thinking 10, 20 years into the future, because epigenetically, even astrologically as well, you can predict how that's going to go based off of your present choices. Um, and not too much with prediction, of course, I won't get into certain crazy things that I'm thinking, but yeah, that's what I mean. And now we'll get into an example of how that may show up, and this is where I'll talk a little bit about myself, um, with the positive tendencies of, let's say, the 12th house. So when I rectified my chart, I found out that I had my sun in Taurus in the 12th house. So my sun, as in the sun's shine, we go outside, we see the sun, hopefully. I'm in California, so that's more likely, maybe for me. But yes, it's summertime and the weather is hot, the sun is up and out. And typically the sun would perform very well in houses that are typically fire based. So in the first house, that is associated with Aries, or even in the ninth house sometimes, where Sagittarius lies. Leo as well is a place where, in the fifth house, where the sun might perform very well. However, in the 12th house, when I was first researching it, I got almost kind of worried, because I was like, oh my goodness, what are these tendencies that I'm, potentially looking to see? This is crazy. Oh my gosh, I don't want this to be the case. No, no. And what I found out was that traditionally, oh no, the sun in the 12th house is not a traditionally strong placement for the sun. What? And what happened here is, you can see, rather than expressing and affirming the self, that would maybe be seen with the sun in the first house, The 12th house is a place of disillusionment, and that could also be replicated with the fact that Pisces is the 12th sign, is ruled by the planet Neptune, and Neptune is known to be a very, disillusioned kind of planet. It can't be seen with the naked eye. It has to do with kind of hidden matters as well. So, that are also significations that you'll see with the 12th house. Um, and the 12th house sun can also indicate, a turning of the self away from the external into its own interiority. So, um, but the good thing is that when you start researching these things, it's going to give you clues into how to overcome this. So, um, you have to, that's also a really great thing with 12th house placements, is that very spiritual, especially with the sun as well. So, the tendency and ability as well to manifest a strong place in this world. So you must either overcome this, tendency, or you must compartmentalize yourself and create an artificial self that deals with the world, and an inner self that watches the activities of the outer self and lives inwardly. So that's like that just activated like a whole part of my genome sequencing. Even now, rereading it again, I'm like, yes, exactly, exactly. I get to create the life that I want, that I feel so deeply inside, and I have this power. And the same goes for you. So, another tendency, negative effect, would be overindulging in food, alcohol, drugs, sex, anything that is like um, disillusioning to the soul and doesn't allow it to um, activate like its higher self, things that kind of stand in the way and kind of muddle the POV that you have of yourself, or that you have of this world. Um, so, not all of these apply to me, of course, but there are things that I've struggled with in the past that are in contingency with overindulgement, and that much was very true. And through fasting from, people, substances, certain foods, I found um, like a sense of clarity, and not just within the mind. Yes, of course, within the mind, but within my nervous system. You know, things weren't as inflamed in my body. I was able to make decisions a bit more groundedly, which is, I don't think that's a word, a bit more grounded. Um, and that kind of mitigated the otherwise, hasty decision making that would come from that internal struggle, um, of, overindulgence to self destruction. Um, and you'll start to see, especially when you research this, a good astrological site is going to give you the pros and cons. Always choose the pros. Know this is what the epigenetics will do for you. Know that you have the choice to choose the positives. You are not tied down to the negative effects. You are not tied down to those tendencies. You're not tied down to the rheumatoid arthritis. You're not tied down to the diabetes. These are things within your literal biological code that you can choose to turn off based off of your lifestyle and your habits, um, that are you're going to start to see those changes. It's all about making sure that you're informed in a way of, those minute details that you can change to see that overall change, and then see it, that butterfly effect, generationally as well, thinking about legacy, getting used to thinking 10, 20 years into the future and being expansive and seeing how the choices that you're making now are going to um, encode within yourself and the people that you're around, um, and the people that you will be around in the future as well. So that's just that's like a slight example. There's so much more to come with it and into it and all of that. But I hope that that was helpful. I really do. I think it's just a very interesting topic to me, honestly, knowing, and in a way you may have already practiced this, but this is just more words that and context that you can add to how you've already overcome certain things in life and changed your mindset and changed your behaviors to benefit you in your future. So yeah, I think it's really fun to look over this and to see different aspects of my chart, and that I can just create the most delicious buffet of life and not overindulge. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me for another video. Um, and if you want to hack your cosmological DNA, then I would recommend booking a session with me through my Calendly that's linked in my bio. And we'll be able to get into the nitty gritty of your astrology chart. You get to choose however you want to dive into the details, and we will get you elevated to that higher self mindset and give you practices and habits that you can encode within your day, within your week to week, that can really reframe your mindset to what's going to work best for you in that season of life and long term as well. So I truly I really thank astrology for coming into my life just as a way. I don't use it every day, but um just knowing that's kind of kick-started this whole aspect of thinking, higher self, knowing that I can make the choices that are going to, really uh, help activate the parts of my life that make me feel secure. Like, this life is yours for the making, so let's act like it. And you're not tied to any specific thing. Um, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will absolutely look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to see more, and take care of yourself, and you'll see the world around you flourish because of that, no doubt. Um, but yeah, until then, peace and many blessings, and I'll see y'all in the next one.